Hello, everyone. Welcome to Everything Arsenal. Match preview for the big game against Fulham, the last game of the year, an away game against Fulham. And I'm just starting to recover from the West Ham game, and this will be a huge one now for very, very many reasons. I'll go through all of them, and obviously I'll do the team news as well at the end. But just first to touch on the team news, there's been a lot of talk the last couple of days about Zinchenko, a lot of talk of Martinelli being dropped to the bench, a lot of talk of Jesus being dropped to the bench. I've come up with my own lineup. I'll talk about it at the end. But the thing is, you cannot really drop all of those players because you don't really have enough players. You can argue Trossard to come in is also not been that great. You can argue Nketiah to come in. You can argue Kivio at left back, but it's going to be hard. If you had enough players, then you can drop 3 or 4 players and trust the likes of Smith Rowe and Nelson. But I can't see a situation where it's going to, change the whole team and drop Saka, Martinelli, and Jesus at the same time and play Nelson, Smith Rowe, and Nketiah at the same time. The chances of that happening is quite low. But let's talk about the game first. Fulham, we played against them earlier this season. They took away a point from our place when they were down to 10 men. They actually scored fast. We had to come back from behind, scored twice. Very good second half sub appearances from Fabio Villa and Nketiah. We thought things were looking good, but we gave away a corner and Palhinha scored. And that was a nightmare result for us drawing with Fulham, considering, we won that. We beat them both games last season. Also considering they've basically lost to every single big team this season, to Man City, to even Chelsea, if you want to include them in that, to Man United at home as well. So it's not a great team to be dropping points against. Recently, they've picked up their form just before they lost 3 games in a row. Around November and beginning of December, they were looking good, but it should really be a team that we are beating. So the fact that we dropped points against them at the beginning of the season, the fact that we are coming off a defeat to West Ham is not great. And I've actually left this preview till after the Saturday games because I've just watched Man City. I just watched Aston Villa. Both of them won. Aston Villa scored a late penalty and Man City won 2-0. Expected it to be more than that, but it was 2-0 against Sheffield United. And now we are 4th. Yeah, that's how things can change very quickly at the top. 1 week ago, we were first. Then later on, the time we were playing Liverpool, we were top. Now, all of a sudden, we are 4th. But if you win the game tomorrow, you're back to first. That's how tight things are there. So you cannot really drop 2-3 games in a row. You're going to be down to 6 this season. There's no room for too many errors. One error we've made, that is it. We need to now start winning games. Another reason why this game is absolutely huge is the fact that it's our last game this year, and the next Premier League game we're going to play is 3 weeks from now. Yeah, we're not going to play another Premier League game for 3 weeks until we play Crystal Palace like January 20th or 21st there. I think it's 20th. 3 weeks, and we're going to play a Premier League game. Now, there's 5 games on the first, on like 14th, 15th, and then 5 games on the other weekend because of the break. Everyone gets like a week break, a week's breaks there. So Man City are going to play on the first week, and I think Aston Villa are going to play on the first week as well. So there's a chance that if you don't get 3 points against Fulham, you're going to be sitting there and you're going to have to watch Tottenham coming closer to us. You're going to have to watch Liverpool potentially beating Newcastle on the Monday, on New Year's Day. And then we're going to have to wait for another 3 weeks before you see Arsenal play. You're going to see Man City going 3-4 points ahead of us. You're going to have to watch Aston Villa going, increasing the gap ahead of us as well. And we'll just be sitting there for 3 weeks, having not won 3 games in a row. Liverpool, West Ham and Fulham. We don't want that to happen. I'm going into this game still very, very confident. We had 30 shots against West Ham, and he had a lot of shots as well against Brighton, and we created a lot of chances against Aston Villa, against Liverpool as well. We created several chances. So it's not like we're in a very, very bad moment and we're just not getting anything going. We're having 3-4 shots per game and we are conceding a bunch of chances. No, it's not like that at all. We are creating chances. Now we just need to take our chances and win this game. Goal difference as well is very important. Man City have not been able to add it by too many against Sheffield, but as you can see, both them and Liverpool ahead of us in terms of that. So if you can get a big win away at Fulham, that would be great. Fulham themselves, I've watched them a lot of times this season. I watched them against Man United. They lost narrowly 1-0. Watched them against Chelsea. It was, I think, a Monday night game. Chelsea won comfortably that game as well. But I've also watched one of their 5-0 where they thumped West Ham 5-0. They also thumped Nottingham 5-0. Those are just the home games I'm speaking about. Early in the season, I think they beat Wolves at home. So they can pick up results. But they can also lose games heavily. They lost to Bournemouth recently heavily. They also lost at home to Fulham. So you can actually get at them and beat them. Their defense is not as great. But that's the same thing we thought about West Ham, because both of them have conceded 30 plus goals this season, but West Ham were able to keep a clean sheet against us. So Fulham is a team we should be beating. Last season, we beat them home and away. The home game was a little bit tougher, but the away game, we went there, we were 3 goals up by halftime. Trossard had a hat-trick of assists in the first half. More of the same. We need more of the same in this particular game. The likes of Havertz will be back for this game. I'm so happy to have him back. We need Martinelli, Jesus, Saka. If they all start or if they come on, we need them to show something in this game, because they haven't really been giving us what we need recently. So hopefully they can do that. With everything said, people are not happy with Arsenal's performances or Arsenal's finishing and all that. But we are still there, you know. We are still like same points with Man City, which might not be enough. But hey, you never know. If you win 16 games out of the remaining 19, you're going to win the league title. It's going to be hard, but you're going to have to do something like that to win the Premier League title. And then we are just 2 points behind Liverpool. So it's not the end of everything. The next few games, Fulham, Crystal Palace, and then I think the third game will be also like an easier game up until we play Liverpool, I think, in February. We need to get a run going, get at least 3 wins. I think it will be Nottingham Forest. We need to get like 3 wins in a row, because we also have a big game coming up in the FA Cup next week against Liverpool. We want to go into that high on confidence and top of the table or second, depending on how Liverpool, Newcastle will go. That will not be bad. As long as we are amongst it, we've reached the January transfer window. The football gods have looked out for us. They've told us, listen, you're not being that great, but you're still amongst it. And we've given, here's the January transfer window as your Christmas present, as in New Year's present. Go and get some players, and you're still in and around. Partey could be back. I don't know if he's going to go to AFCON. Tomiyasu could be back. I don't know if he's going to go to the Asian Cup, but depending, at least those players are about to come back. So let's see how it goes. Not an easy game, considering it's away from home, not an easy game at all, but I still fancy us to win this game. It's not like I'm not like in a dark moment as an Arsenal fan. No, we are still creating those chances. We're still doing things, but you're not finishing them off. So let's hope in this game we can go out there and make get a statement win, and everything will be back to normal. And then we can just focus on the January transfer window. And then for the rest of the season, right now, at the time of recording, we have 19 games to go. According to the calculations that I've done, you're going to need to win at least 15 of those games. That will take you to like 85 points, and that will not be enough to win the trophy, just like it wasn't last season. So you'll need to maybe even pick up another win or pick up a couple of draws. Basically, right now, out of the 19 games remaining, you can only afford to not win maybe 2 or 3 at most, depending on how Man City and Liverpool do. So games like this, you need to win. If these games you're going to lose or draw, let it be a game that is very, very hard, like the way it was like away at Newcastle, something like that. Don't let it be like Fulham or Nottingham or West Ham at home. No, win all your home games, and then away from home, you just have to go there and win. You don't have to win 7-0, but just get the win, bounce back, and go back to where we're supposed to be at this particular time. But which lineup will take us there? This would be the lineup I'd go for. David Ryan goal. He saved a penalty the other day, kind of saved Rice from more embarrassment. And then for the back four, there's nothing much that you can do. If we had someone else, Zinchenko does deserve to be dropped. But in this particular game where it's going to be tight spaces and we need someone to open up the gaps with the passes and going forward, I don't think you can really play Kiwior. And I've not been impressed by Kiwior at left back anyway, unless you want to see Cedric starting there, or you want to try something different, like having a back three of Gabriel, Saliba, and Ben White, and then more forward players. Maybe you can play Rice and Jorginho in midfield together, and then Martinelli, Saka, all those guys up front. That is an option. But I've just stuck with this as for now. Zinchenko, Gabriel, Saliba, and Ben White. Nothing much that you can do. Don't really have any other options unless you bring in Cedric or Kiwior. So that would be my back four. Zinchenko and Ben White need big games. Saliba and Gabriel have just been amazing throughout the season. Midfield-wise, we have the option of playing Jorginho, Rice, pushing Rice forward. We have the option of starting Smith Rowe. I think he was okay the day he came on against West Ham. I think Odegaard was brilliant against West Ham. But again, not too many options since the likes of Fabio Vieira and Partey are not there. So this would be my midfield. I'd go with Declan Rice in midfield, Odegaard, and I'd bring back Havertz straight away. You need those runs from midfield. This is the kind of game I think Havertz, he'll definitely score. Like with those Odegaard and Saka passes, Havertz going into the box, he'll get a chance or two. So I fancy him to score in this one. Really missed him the other day. So many crosses from Odegaard, so many crosses from Ben White, from Saka, just no one in the box to finish. And then up front, what should we do up front? I have thought about a lot of options. I'll tell you about 2 or 3 different options I've thought about, but this would be my front 3. I've gone for Saka at right wing, Trossard at left wing, and Jesus up front. I did think about potentially starting Havertz up front and dropping Jesus, but is it the best option to drop Jesus and Martinelli at the same time? You don't really want to go for 3-4 players who don't regularly play. You can't just say start Smith Rowe, start Nelson, players who don't usually play, all of them at the same time. It's not a good idea. So I have stuck with Gabriel Jesus. And Trossard was brilliant against Fulham last season. This particular game, he got 3 assists in just one half in the first half. And I'm hoping, I think it started against Fulham at home this season. He wasn't great. So we had to bring in Ketty and Fabio Vieira to do something for us in that game. But hopefully in this one, he can turn up. I think Martinelli just needs a rest, 1-2 games, and then he comes back. Maybe even against Liverpool in the FA Cup. He needs that break. Last season, when he was dropped right before the Aston Villa game, I think he was dropped for the Aston Villa game last season away from home around February, and then he came on against Aston Villa, and then he scored in that game, and then he went on a run once again. So maybe I think Fulham was one of those games he scored after that Aston Villa game. So hopefully he can do the same in this one. Jesus, I think it's a bit of also, he gives us a lot. He's not scoring the goals. Maybe the final solution will be playing Zinchenko in midfield and Jesus next to Odegaard in midfield as well. On the wings, I think Jesus would be great on the wings as well. He's always great on the wings. So that would be my front 3. Maybe if you had another option in terms of striker, you can say Jesus on the bench and then you bring the other player on. But maybe you can play Havertz up front. For me, Saka starts and Trossard starts in this one. So it is all a matter of, do we start? Who are you going to put on the bench on this one, Jesus or Martinelli? So I decided Martinelli on the bench for this one, bring him back for the Liverpool game. That would be my team. I think that's good enough. And then on the bench, we can call on Martinelli, Nketiah, Nelson, Smith Rowe, Jorginho, Elneny, Cedric, Kivior, Ramsdale. Now, I have thought about playing Smith Rowe. I was thinking about starting him against West Ham, but I went with Trossard because Trossard also needed game time. But for this game, Havertz is coming back, just play him. I don't, unless you play Havertz up front and then you play Smith Rowe next to Odegaard. But then again, that's what I'm trying to say. Can you really remove all those players who are used to starting every time, building that bond with the rest of the team, and then you just remove 4 players at the same time? I don't think is the best solution, just to remove Zinchenko, remove Jesus, remove Martinelli all at the same time, remove Trossard. No. So that would be my starting lineup. Hopefully it will be good enough to get a couple of goals against Fulham. My prediction, I think the likes of, I don't know if Willian is fit, but the likes of Iwobi and Jimenez have been great recently. I am going to go with Arsenal 3, Fulham 0. I'm going to go for us to bounce back, clean sheet, 3-0 to Arsenal, Havertz to score, Jesus to score, and Saka to score. I'd love if Martinelli scored, if he starts, or Trossard scored. We just need a big game. We need a big performance, and then, confidence will be back up ahead of that Liverpool game. And then after the Liverpool game in the FA Cup, we are not going to play again for 13 days. We can focus on the transfer window as we prepare for the second half of the season, where it's going to be very, very big for us. You'll need a big wins, because right now we are competing against 3 teams. It's not like one team last season. Now we are focused on 3 teams. But let me know your prediction. Let me know your starting lineup for this particular game. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch up with you guys on the next one.